MMA Fighting presents Timeline, Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway 2.
February 4th, 2012, UFC 143, Diaz versus Condit, Las Vegas, Nevada. 20-year-old Max Holloway makes his UFC debut on late notice against Dustin Poirier. Holloway would suffer his first defeat by first-round submission.
Did he throw anything at you out there that you didn't expect?
A couple of things he threw I expected. A kickboxer to throw body kicks, good crosses down the middle. He was trying to counter me. I was throwing an outside leg kick. He was trying to counter me with the cross every time I threw it. He ended up touching my chin, kind of flashed me a little bit. Then he threw we circled, we mixed again. He threw a flying knee, or I don't know if it was the knee or the shin. The way he throws his knees weren't like a normal flying knee. He kind of like jumps up and it looks like, it's kind of weird what he was doing, but something hit me and flashed me, and I knew I had to put the pressure on him. And once I got him against the fence, I have an 8-week strength and conditioning program. I feel really strong at 145. So he almost got away from the takedown, but I got him down. And once we hit the ground, I showed that I do practice jiu-jitsu.
Holloway would go on to win his next 3 matches, including a victory over Leonard Garcia, before losing a close match against Dennis Bermudez, bringing his UFC record to 3-2. August 17th, 2013, UFC Fight Night 26. Shogun versus SONNEN, Boston, Massachusetts. Holloway is set to face Conor McGregor in the prelims. Max Holloway loses to Conor McGregor by unanimous decision. The fight was expected to be a striking battle, but each fighter suffers leg injuries in the match. McGregor with a knee injury and Holloway with an ankle injury. April 26, 2014. UFC 172, Jones versus Teixeira, Baltimore, Maryland. After getting back on the winning track with the knockout victory over Will Shope, Holloway returns to face top prospect Andre Fili. Blessed shows off his submission skills with an impressive guillotine choke in the 3rd round. Max Holloway would go on to win 3 more fights over Clay Collard, Akira Corassani, and Cole Miller. April 18th, 2015, UFC on Fox 15, Rockhold vs. Machida, Newark, New Jersey. Now on a 5-fight win streak, Holloway is set to face top contender Cub Swanson.
So, your story is a great one because you're so young. You're 24, correct? Or you're about to turn 24. And you came into the UFC at such a young age, short notice fight, right? And we didn't really get to see the real you. Then after the Poirier fight, I think we got a sense of that. And then you stumbled a little bit, but now recently, 5 in a row, and you've looked incredible. What's been the biggest difference as of late?
My maturity, and that first couple of fights, I didn't really have a striking coach. It's only me and my boy Dustin Kimura. We was helping each other out, and just being each other's mint man, and it was hard, because we wanted to be full-time fighters, so it's hard holding mitts for each other and working with each other. But now I got 2 striking coaches. I got Ivan Flores over at Legacy Muay Thai, and then I got Hawaii Elite MMA Charles Kilipi. So it's awesome, it's great. And now I got guys that can worry about watching fight and breaking down fights and making combinations, and I don't have to worry too much about it.
In a breakout performance, Holloway dominates Swanson and finishes him by submission late in the 3rd round. The victory earns Performance of the Night honors for Holloway.
What kind of position does this put you in? Do you sit back and wait till July and see what happens, or are you ready to go out and take another fight and let the title fight figure itself out in the summer?
I don't know. I'm not a matchmaker. That's not my job. We see what Dana White, what Sean Shelby, Joe Silva want to do with me. We take one step at a time. That's what we've been doing, and it's been working out for us.
Holloway would follow up this victory with wins over Charles Oliveira and Jeremy Stevens. June 4th, 2016, UFC 199, Rockhold vs. Bisping 2, Inglewood, California. Max Holloway faces perennial top contender Ricardo Lamas. Holloway wins by decision and improves his win streak to 9 in a row. November 26, 2016, UFC Fight Night 101, Whitaker vs. Brunson, Melbourne, Australia. The 13-1 Alexander Volkanovski makes his UFC debut opposite Japanese fighter Yusuke Kasuya. Volkanovski defeats Kasia by ground and pound TKO midway through the second round. Volkanovski would continue with a victory the following June on the UFC Fight Night 110 Lewis vs. Hunt card in Auckland, New Zealand, by defeating Japanese veteran Mizuto Hirota by decision. December 10th, 2016, UFC 206, Holloway vs. Pettis, Toronto, Canada. Max Holloway is booked in his first pay-per-view main event opposite former lightweight champion Anthony Pettis.
Watch every single fight. The thing with Max Holloway, I grow every single fight. You guys can go watch the tape. Watch the fight from Jeremy to Oliveira to Jeremy to what's his name, Lamis, the Cub fight. Watch all those fights. I grow, I show something more better. And my plan in there is to finish you. If I don't finish you, I'm making you guys right the next day and be like, holy shit, why is this guy in with Max Holloway and who's next, you know? So that's what I've been saying, you know, this whole camp. Everybody's gonna have someone who's next, you know. It's just time we came to that point where you guys just need to all agree and be like, Max is the freaking man. He's the best guy on planet Earth. So that's the time that we're here now.
Holloway finishes Pettis late in the third round via strikes. Max Holloway is the new UFC interim featherweight champion.
It's been a hell of a ride, man. And we're just getting started, man. Tune in, man. Tune in. This is just the beginning. You know, I said it in there in February, you know, and then when everything was slowing down, I was in the back. I was thinking of, I already had to give up Thanksgiving for this fight. I had to give up my birthday. And, you know, and it's hard to find the guy, you know, like I said, you know, hashtag where's Jose Waldo, and let me know when you find him, you know, teamwork is the dream work, you know, if more of us is looking for him, we're gonna find him together, but we see what happens, you know. I don't know, I don't want to give up my son's birthday and Christmas for February 11th and he don't show up, you know. This guy has an act for not showing up to the fight, so we see what happens, you know. Maybe I gotta talk to Dana White first, man. I got a brunch that I want to do. Sit down with him and Sean Selby, and we can talk. We can talk some business.
Now that you're the interim champion, are you willing, you know, in the worst case scenario where Aldo is for some reason unable to defend over the next 6 months or something, will you entertain an interim title defense?
Of course, I'm the best man alive. Like I said, everybody always give me shit. Like, oh, why you wanted to fight Aldo? Why are you not calling out Conor? You know, it's like, look, Conor's booked. Why I'm gonna call out a guy who's already have a fight? I was looking out for Aldo. I thought he wanted to fight, and this guy is saying he's the best in the world. Come and prove it. You know, I don't believe in guys waiting for title shots. That means you fucking pussy. You don't believe that you're the best guy in the world, you know? I believe I'm the best damn guy in the world. If I gotta defend this thing 10 times before I get the undisputed thing, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna prove to you guys, prove to myself, and prove to everyone that I'm the best motherfucker walking on 2 feet. And you guys all gonna witness it. This is the Bless Show now, you know? I'm taking over.
June 3rd, 2017, UFC 212, Aldo versus Holloway, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Now holding the interim title, Max Holloway is set to face champ Jose Aldo at the Jeunesse Arena to determine who will be the undisputed UFC featherweight champion.
Saying, oh, but they both lost to Conor McGregor. This belt is Conor McGregor's. Does it bother you?
It doesn't bother me at all. Conor McGregor should be proud. Like, listen to this. He should be proud. He's a 2015 champion, you know? Walk around with your belt, you know? Guess what? DJ got 11 belts. He should walk around walk around belt. You know, I'll go back to basketball. LeBron James got 3 rings. What you gonna tell him? You're gonna tell him, oh, you can't walk around with your 3 rings. Why? He deserved the damn thing. Conor McGregor is a champion in 2015. Get that one thing straight. What year are we in today? What year? 2017. This is a new champ. You gotta play to be the champ. You gotta play, and he's not playing. You know, just like I'm gonna go back to LeBron James then. Imagine if LeBron James then just won last year against Golden State. They won the finals against Golden State. They're playing Golden State again. Imagine LeBron came out and be like, guys, we're not playing the final this year. We beat them last year. We're the champs. In what sport does that work? Does that work in soccer?
Holloway defeats Aldo and is now the undisputed UFC featherweight champ.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. King Max is here, guys. Blessed era, welcome. We can now take questions. No, I don't want money fights, Dana White told me, we had a meeting before, and he said, this is big game hunting. The bigger the game you bring in to the table, the more bigger paychecks you get. And I think Aldo is he's a silverback gorilla, Now I want my paycheck. I don't want money fights. I want to get paid. And like I said, I want to defend my throne. I'm going to be here for a long time. And why not do it in Hawaii? Who in here doesn't want to go to Hawaii? Raise your hand. Or just stand up and actually, if you don't want to go to Hawaii, just stand up and leave. I don't want to take questions from you.
December 2nd, 2017, UFC 218, Holloway vs. Aldo 2, Detroit, Michigan. Originally booked as Max Holloway vs. Frankie Edgar, a few weeks out, Edgar is forced to withdraw from his title bid due to injury. The UFC rebooks Jose Aldo, who was already booked to face Ricardo Lamas in Winnipeg a few weeks later, to rematch the champ as the main event for UFC 218. Holloway successfully defends his title with a third-round TKO.
I recently heard about Aldo's his motivation for this fight was his daughter, and me being a parent with my son, I get it, but that guy should know he doesn't have to owe anybody anything. That guy's one of the greatest of all time. I think Brazil should be building statues of that guy in all the favelas, man. He's a legend, he's a GOAT, and I got a lot to feel. So, but to your question, I told you guys before, there's a quote going around. I told you guys, if I beat you one time, the second time is going to be worse, and then the third time you should rethink your life about accepting the fight. But just joking. But we knew it. After the first round, I walked up to Joe Rogan and John Anik. I told him the guy's tired. He's tired already. In the third round, I dropped my hands. I was telling him to punch me. I was like, bro, this is where you punch me. Punch me in the face. I'm daring you. I was telling him, I dare you. I dare you to punch me now. And it went well. Things went my way. I think so. I landed, he landed some shots. My shots just seemed to hurt him a little bit more. So everything went my night tonight. But like I said, the guy's a GOAT, man. I had nothing but respect for him and his team and his family and all of Brazil.
Max Holloway is the reigning, defending UFC featherweight champion. He wins his 12th fight in a row. He successfully defends that title for the first time since 2014. The first person to do it since 2014. Do you remember who did it back on October of 2014?
Putting me on the spot. Jose Aldo.
Yes, of course. Jose Aldo against Chad Mendes in Brazil. Remember that night? Here we go. The blessed era is upon us.
February 10th, 2018, UFC 221, Romero vs. Rockhold, Perth, Australia. Volkanovski returns to the cage against the undefeated Jeremy Kennedy.
You are on this mission to rid the UFC of the quote-unquote bad guys. Who are these bad guys that you're talking about? Why do you have an issue with them?
Look, it's just, everyone's doing the whole talking shit type of thing, and I know it just bores me now. I think, I know I get it. It's entertaining. Some of the guys are really good at it, but everyone's trying to do it now. I literally cringe every time I see someone trying to, trash talk, and some people just don't have it and they just try, and I just find it funny. And I've always been, a respectful type of guy, and no one's really playing the good guy. I know there's a lot of good guys out there, but if you just want to play the bad guy here, I'm ready to play the superhero. I'll go and take these bad guys out.
When you were a rugby league player, did someone introduce you to martial arts, or were you someone who did martial arts as a kid and were always interested in MMA, and then you just decided to go into it full time?
Yeah, I just always loved any martial arts. So whether it's boxing, kickboxing, MMA, and I just always loved it. And I remember playing football. I wasn't even training MMA, and I used to watch the UFC and think, oh yeah, I'm going to be a champion one day. And I wasn't even training at the time, and you know what I mean. It's just fun. I used to listen to music and just imagine me in the octagon fighting. And again, I wasn't even training.
Wow.
It was something that I always wanted to do. And my last year of rugby league, I had a couple of fights. They went well. I got Player of the Year. I scored a try in the grand final, and we finished on a really good year. And I just made the decision. You know what? I'm gonna just do MMA. And people thought I was mad. I was actually pretty good at rugby league. So a lot of people thought I was mad to actually change. They're like, oh, what are you doing? But I knew I was never gonna make it to NRL, which is the right up the top.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm a competitive type of guy. So I was like, you know what? MMA, I think I can do it. Took it on, and 5 or 6 years later, I'm in the UFC. So I've only been in the sport. I'm still new to this sport.
Yeah.
6 years max.
Tougher sport, rugby league or MMA?
You would have to say MMA. Just, obviously, like I said, running straight, I don't want to offend anyone, but, we didn't use no padding or nothing like that, just literally run straight at brick wall. So that can be pretty crazy sometimes. But MMA is just all year round, with the mental side of things, physical, you know what I mean? The ups and downs. Like I always tell people, it's like a roller coaster, the emotions, everything, you get injuries, and it's just such a crazy sport. So when it comes to what's tough, I reckon MMA definitely, because you've got to really, some of the trainings, mate, to be ready for a fight, you need to be really fit, and some of the hardest training in the world, I believe.
And you said you also were a concreter. That's someone who like pours concrete, like cement and stuff. That's what you're doing, construction sites? Yeah, construction sites, shoveling concretes, screeding, and wheelbarrowing, a lot of that sort of stuff. So you can see why I used to have the back problems. Just my dad didn't believe in a concrete pump, so we used to just wheelbarrow everything. Do you feel okay now? 3-0 in the UFC, correct? What are you? 16-1. This would be your 14th straight victory, correct? I mean, it's been a while since you lost a fight.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, okay, I do something impressive here, I'm going to take that next step? Is this the one? And if so, how do you get it done on Saturday or Sunday morning, I should say, in Perth?
Yeah, 100%. That's why I think this fight, we're both 3-0 in the UFC. I think the winner really moves forward. You know what I mean? So I think that's exactly what's happening. Yeah, 13 wins on the trot. I fought at middleweight. My first few fights were middleweight and welterweight. So my loss was that, actually. So I haven't lost in the lower divisions. My only loss was in welterweight against a pound-for-pound #1 in Southeast Asia, Australia at the time. So I was, wasn't ready for that fight. So in my eyes, I still believe I'm undefeated, but obviously I'm not. But it's just, it's definitely, I get a big win here, I'm getting a ranked opponent. So, and hopefully, I know I'm putting a performance, so I reckon these people are going to try and duck me, but, I might have to call someone out. I pride myself on being the nice guy and I don't call people out, but I'm going to have to call someone out. One of these bad guys, because ain't no one going to call me out, I don't believe.
Volkanovski moves to 17-1 after he finishes Kennedy by ground and pound late in the second round. He would return to the cage the following June at UFC Fight Night 133, Dos Santos vs. Ivanov in Boise, Idaho. Volkanovski wins his US debut and remains undefeated in the UFC by defeating Darren Elkins by decision. April 7th, 2018, UFC 223, KHABIB vs. IAQUINTA, Brooklyn, New York. Originally booked as Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson for the undisputed UFC lightweight title, Ferguson is forced to pull out of the bout due to a knee injury. Max Holloway steps in on very late notice to face Nurmagomedov in an attempt to be the second ever simultaneous multiple weight class UFC champion.
They keep talking about 6 days notice, it's a short, he's taking a short notice fight against me. How are you gonna get ready for 6 days for me, Khabib? That's the real question. And everybody keep asking about my weight. The weight is good. After the fight, 30 more pounds. 30 more pounds. 2 sides. We're walking out of the octagon, baby.
Great, thank you.
I agree with him. I agree. You guys remember when John Jones don't take fight versus Chael Sonnen? Like 1 week or 9 days? I didn't remember. He said, this is different stylistic fighter. This, of course, for me, it's not easy to, everybody talk about him. He's right, because I all the time focus to Tony. Now they give me one of the best, he have one of the best win streak of all time in UFC. He's not smaller than me, now he's bigger than me. I want to give him respect. He take this fight, but 1 week ago, he vacation, drink beer, everything. But hey, I am training for 5-round fight, This guy have to knock me out.
Hey, I
if
was
he no
getting
knock
ready.
me out,
I was getting ready.
If this guy no knock me out, it's gonna be big night for him.
The
you
injury,
know, it's gonna be big night. He have to knock me out, and that's it. How he gonna beat me? Hey,
I've been training.
He make tired all the time his opponents. He make tired all the time his opponents. Like Aldo, Pettis, like other guys. He make tired and he win.
It is.
How we gonna make? Hey,
We're gonna find out Saturday night.
How we gonna make?
We're gonna find out Saturday night, baby.
We'll see.
Let's go.
Sorry. Could you tell us how much you weigh right now?
That is also a secret,
Wow.
you know.
Why so many secrets?
Why? So you know, when you're a musician, you don't tell everybody your tricks, you know. Just like reporters, you know,
Right.
you don't tell us where you get your source from.
That's
Come
true.
on, this is like Hollywood. If I told you, there's either two things: you can think I'm lying, or you won't believe me. So it's.
Wow.
However, Holloway is forced to pull out of the bout the morning of weigh-ins due to weight-cutting complications. July 7th, 2018, UFC 226, Miocic vs. Cormier, Las Vegas, Nevada. Max Holloway is set to face Brian Ortega for the UFC 145-pound championship as the co-main event for UFC 226.
Mark Raimondi here for MMAfighting.com with Sean Al-Shadi. We're in Las Vegas. A little bit of breaking news, not good news, Sean. Max Holloway is out of UFC 226 due to concussion-like symptoms. I'm going to, off the top, read the statement that Max Holloway's management team, Sucker Punch Entertainment, sent out to the media, beginning with Ariel Helwani of ESPN earlier tonight, just really a few minutes ago here. Las Vegas is about 10 p.m. local time. The statement reads as follows. Max's team and UFC staff noticed Max was not normal since late last week. This became obvious to many watching his interviews and public appearances in the past few days. He was showing concussion-like symptoms before he even started his weight cut and was rushed to the ER on Monday, where they admitted him overnight. Initial scans seemed okay, and he was released Tuesday afternoon, but symptoms still continued. Max fought with his team to continue with the fight. He showed some improvement over the next day, but was still showing obvious symptoms. After open workouts, he crashed, and this is where it gets a little scary, Sean. After open workouts, he crashed and was very hard to wake up. When he did, he had flashing vision and slurred speech. He is now back in the ER for further tests. Now, Sean, there's a couple things that stand out. I mean, there's a lot of things that stand out about that statement.
Yeah.
Obviously, this seems very severe, very, very significant. One was that Monday, 2 days ago now, locally in Las Vegas, Max Holloway was in the hospital already in the ER. And the second thing is, after open workouts, where we saw him just a few hours ago at the MGM Grand, he was hard to wake up after the open workouts. Flashing vision, slurred speech. These are
not what you want to hear.
These are not positive signs. The fight is off. We know that for sure, but how frightening are some of these things that are being reported now about Max Holloway?
It's scary, man. It's really, really scary.
December 8th, 2018, UFC 231, Holloway vs. Ortega, Toronto, Canada. The UFC featherweight champion Max Holloway and #1 contender and undefeated Brian Ortega are rebooked as the main event at the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto.
Was there ever part of you that doubted that this fight would come together with him and maybe had to mentally start to begin to turn the page on that?
I mean, like I always tell everyone right now lately, especially because it's the most common question. At the end of the day, I really do care about your health and how you are and how you're doing. I know you got a son. I mean, bullshit aside, you know, I know we're fighting all that shit, but I do hope you're all right. He's all right. You know what I'm saying? Like that, for me, that, you know, it ain't cool if you step in there and you're not physically all right or something's going on. You know, I wouldn't want me to step in there. I wouldn't want him to step in there, especially you got a family. I got my family. So, like I said, I did worry about him. I do. I pray for you, swear to God. And we're going to give you guys the show you guys deserve. And nothing's going to happen.
Holloway defeats Ortega by doctor stoppage at the end of 4 rounds.
What do you attribute your great improvement to from 5 years ago to now? 5 years is not a long time, but you are a dramatically different guy. What do you attribute the improvement to?
Our great coaches. I'm about to give you 3 names. Write them down. They're gonna go in the history book. Riley Lazarus, Ivan Flores, and Darren Yap. The 3-headed beast. These guys is animals. These guys break down a lot of stuff. You know, even my wrestling coach, Michael Nakagawa, he's a fighter. He's coming up, my brother. And but those guys, those 3 guys and those 4 guys, they put it on the line for me all the time. Those 4 guys right there is their brains behind. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy doing it, but their brains putting it behind me. So I love those guys. You know, when you're in there, you see things. You know, I just felt his energy dropping every round. I heard his coaches talking, you know, in the first couple rounds, and he'd push, and then, you know, around like the 3rd round and stuff, I heard his coaches talking, and there's no push anymore, you know. And then when I was coming out of the 3rd round, I told Joe, this is the round. Get ready to come in and talk to me. And then when I didn't get the finish, I walked straight to Joe. I was like, this close, maybe next one. And then when they called the fight, I jumped the cage. The first guy I talked to was Joe. I was like, hey, I guess I was right. I take it back. We was there.
Thanks, Max.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. All done?
Nice to get a picture.
Yeah, we just...
December 29th, 2018, UFC 232, Jones vs. Gustafsson 2, Inglewood, California. Volkanovski is booked against top-ranked and perennial title challenger Chad Mendes.
Yeah, I know it's the moment, but right now everything feels the same. You know, I've prepared, I'm always more than ready for my fights. This time I had an even bigger camp and everything went really smooth. I peaked right at the right time, so mate, it's unreal, and I just, you know, it's a big opportunity for me, and I'm going to capitalise. And you know, everyone will know who I am Saturday night. What I say, Battle of the Hobbits this weekend. You know what I mean? So, 2 little stocky guys that know how to throw. You know what I mean? Usually, I can control where the fight goes and sort of bully my way into things. That's not going to happen. You know, it might not, but I won't be surprised if I am still way too powerful for him. But I'm expecting it to be fireworks. So you're going to see a lot more hands thrown. And expect a bang. Max Holloway, you know, as a fighter, you know, I've got a lot of respect for him. He's a gamer. The way he is, like he could have copped way less damage if he wanted, but that's not his style. His style's come forward. But that's why I believe guys like me, Chad Mendes, Frankie Edgar are really bad matchups for him. And you know, that's why I really think if I do what I'm planning on doing, and I'm guarantee it's going to happen, I'm going to be calling him out, and I reckon that's going to be coming very soon. I guarantee you that them short little stocky wrestlers are his worst nightmare, just purely because he's such a gamer and he's going to stick to his guns, and I just think that's not a good idea.
In a breakthrough performance, the Great knocks Mendes out late in the 2nd round. The performance earns Fight of the Night honors.
Dave, we talked about Israel Adesanya this year being the guy from that part of the world breaking out, but Volkanovski has had an incredible year, and a win over Mendes like that puts him kind of on that upper echelon of featherweights in the division. Where does he, I mean, maybe not title shot next, but where is he right now? Is he maybe 1 fight away from title shot? He's got to be up in that region.
Certainly real close. You know, I mean, he beat a guy like, not just beat a guy like Chad Mendes, but the poise he showed in just shaking off. Mendes hits like a Mack truck, you know, and the poise he showed in just shaking that off, that tells me that he can probably take anyone's shots in this division. You know, have to see how things play out a little bit. Like maybe he fights whoever wins Jose Aldo's next fight, you know. But he is, I mean, those are the people that you need to be thinking of. If it's maybe not quite there for a title shot yet, but he's certainly not far.
And Volkanovski said that he feels like he's a terrible matchup for Max Holloway, and he's already kind of calling for that fight. Maybe a bit premature, but
gotta like the confidence.
100%, absolutely.
What a crazy sport we're in. Crazy sport. Still, I don't know, it really hasn't kicked in, really, because I've had to get the stitches and do a bit of the media and stuff like that, but you know, it's Chad Mendes. You know, I know I've said this in the interviews, you know, he's only lost to the greats and I'm going to be another great. You say these things, but it's fucking happened, you know what I mean? It's unreal feeling. I've got a lot of respect, you know, for the guy. and I knew it was going to be a tough fight. You know, I didn't, you know, I might have been down that first round. So it's good to, you know, a bit of adversity, but at the same time, you know, I still think I could have done better, but, you know, it's good to show people that, you know, I'll stand in front of the toughest, most explosive guys in the division. And I could see him start to crumble as soon as I had my way with him, and it ended up going to plan. Mate, I called out Max Holloway, not because, you know, I think, oh yeah, I'm definitely the next in line. You know, obviously Moicano and it was probably the next in line, but he missed weight. And then you're hearing a lot of people say, you know, what's left for him in this division? He hasn't fought a wrestler really for a while, a good, strong wrestler with a, you know, big puncher, you know what I mean? And I know he's a gamer, like, and he's the type of guy that he'll, you know, we've all taken, he didn't have to cop that damage that he done, but the fact that he just comes forward and that's his game, you know what I mean? That's why a lot of people got to respect for him, but I just think that's why we're a bad matchup for him. And until he takes out someone like me or Frankie Edgar, then you could say he's took out everyone in the division. I really think that, you know?
So you're saying, hold on a second, Max, don't go up just yet.
Yeah, well, even he wants to, man, he's a gamer. He wants to take out the division. He really does. That's why everyone loves him. But I reckon, you know, if I'm not next, I'll be the fight after that. And I guarantee you, if he plays that game that he always does, and I know he will. Like, again, he's a gamer, he's a gangster. I love it. But that's just not going to work for me.
April 13th, 2019, UFC 236, Holloway versus Poirier 2, Atlanta, Georgia. For the first time in his UFC career, the featherweight champ will go up in weight to rematch Dustin Poirier. However, this time the stakes will be much higher, as the winner will be crowned the new interim UFC lightweight champion.
Man, you are moving up to 155, and that is the big story of this week. Just what is the best part of life at 155 so far for you?
The best part of life at 155 so far for me right now is eating.
Yeah.
I get to eat, you know, I eat a lot at 45, but I get to eat a lot more at 55, so it's great, you know, eating and just, it's just fun, you know, it's just fun. 55 is 55 is still a cut, you know, but it's not a 45 cut, and 45 ain't really that hard, you know, everybody keep giving me a hard time about the weight and blah, blah, this and that, you know. Never ever have I missed weight in my career, you know. Doctors came in and stopped it, you know, I don't know what for the first time, and other times wasn't even weight related, so. I'm just happy here to make history. You know, like people keep telling me I have the chance to be the 4th champ. That is a lie. I'm gonna be the first champ, and I'm also gonna be the first guy to win an interim in 2 different weight classes. And then I'm also gonna be a guy that's also gonna be the first headlining of the ESPN Plus pay-per-view card. So there's a bunch of history that's gonna go on Saturday night, and we're about to drop a video of how you can download the app and buy the fight.
You're just setting records all over the place.
Record setter. Nah. It is what it is. It comes with the game, you know. When you want to be great, and you got a goal and you got a plan, all these things is gonna come along with it. So, you know, I'm just here for the ride. I can't wait. I'm excited, and I can't wait to go into that octagon on Saturday night and show the world why I'm one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world.
Max Holloway loses by unanimous decision.
Max Holloway, man, you can't say enough good things about this guy. He comes up to lightweight. People wondered if the power would translate. You know, he didn't end up stopping Dustin, but he definitely hurt him a few times. And that cardio, that fabled cardio, it held up. He battled back, like you said, in the middle rounds. You know, I saw some people online making the case that Max actually took 3 of them. He took all the middle rounds. Dustin took the bookends. I think you can see that. I personally scored it for Dustin, but sensational fight and just an excellent capper for the night.
May 11th, 2019, UFC 237, Namajunas versus Andrade, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Volkanovski takes on his toughest opponent to date, the former champion, Jose Aldo. Volkanovski halts Aldo's 2-fight winning streak and defeats him by decision in a workmanlike performance.
Well, we know, obviously, you know, again, he's a counter striker. He loves the counter. He's always based very heavily. You know what I mean? He loves the leg kicks. Look, if you stand still in front of him, he's going to fire them big leg kicks. I'm sure that was his game plan with me to fire off the leg kicks. But again, I always had him adjusting. So that's why you see me with a lot of movements, a lot of fakes and a lot of feints. I just always had him guessing, always, you know, I actually was trying to draw him into pulling the trigger a bit much. I think he noticed that. So that's why he wasn't pulling the trigger at all. But at the same time, again, you can say even with the clinch work and stuff like that, mate, if I shot and he stuffed the takedown, I was going to come right back at him. That was just another thing for him to worry about. It was just to have a puzzle in front of him, have him so worried about things that I'm doing, you get what I mean? He's very, very overreactive. He reacts heavily to everything. And that's why you've seen every time I've done something, he was ready to head slipping, sort of ready to pull the trigger. And you know what I mean? Alt shift, he would always adjust, always adjusting, always very, very, very based. He's always had a very good base. You know what I mean? And that's why he's the type of person that defends takedowns very well. But, we sort of capitalize on that. And
what is the key to beating Max Holloway?
I just still fight my fight. Again, he's a gamer, man. He comes forward. He does a lot of the work for me, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm a bad matcher for him. I really do believe that, you know what I mean? He's the type of person that does come forward. And, again, he's not the hardest hitter. He's got a lot of volume. But, again, mate, if you're there trying to throw volume at me, you're going to receive some. And, they're going to be heavy. They're going to be powerful. And then you've got my wrestling to worry about. Then you've got everything else to worry about. Obviously I've got many tools that he needs to worry about. So I believe it's a very dangerous fight for him. But he's game. He'd be keen. Let's make it happen.
But let's say if someone wanted to say, okay, but he fought Aldo twice and stopped him both times in the third round. You didn't knock him down. So therefore Max is better. What would you say to that argument?
Mate, I guarantee you people will say that. But I mean, they don't know the game. And obviously, I'm a calculated fighter. I'm going to be the type of person that I'm going to do what needs to be done to win. You know what I mean? So at the same time, I'm not going to take stupid risks and give someone like Aldo. Obviously, he's a dangerous guy. He can knock anyone out at any given time. Why take silly risks when I don't need to? I was doing enough. I was working enough. He just didn't pull the trigger. But if he did a little bit more, I reckon I would have capitalized. But he didn't. But maybe he was waiting for me to throw more careless shots and stuff like that. But again, I'm a smart fighter. I've got a good fighter IQ, and again, I'm very, very well-rounded, and I'm only getting better. So the longer that Max waits, the worse it'll be for him because I'm getting better and better every day.
July 27, 2019, UFC 240. Holloway versus Edgar, Edmonton, Alberta. Max Holloway is set to defend his featherweight title against the former UFC lightweight champion as the main event at Rogers Place in Edmonton.
But the motivation never ever crushed the motivation. The boy's always motivated, and Frankie's Frankie, man. If you don't give this guy the respect he deserved, he did something that was unthinkable, unheard of in a division higher than us when he was a much smaller dude. So I can't wait. These are the fights that excite me. The man's a legend. The man's a legend. If he's not a Hall of Famer, he's a future Hall of Famer. If not, he's definitely a Hall of Famer in my eyes, at least. And nothing but respect for him.
Holloway defeats Edgar in a definitive, unanimous decision.
Max has pretty much done everything Jose's been able to do, beating the old guard like Jose's beat Ricardo Lamas. Max has done that. Jose Aldo is beating Frankie Edgar. Max has done that. He's pretty much beating all of the old guard of the featherweight division. Yes, he has that Brian Ortega one, which is this new face, this new breath of fresh air. Huge. It was not only was huge, it was dominant in a fight that people were expecting a very competitive fight. So he has a lot of contenders now with Sabit and Yair and Alexander Volkanovski. So it's pretty much 1A, 1B right now, but Max Holloway with another absolutely beautiful performance against Frankie Edgar.
What does it mean to you? You praised him so much leading up to this fight. It was all respect afterwards. What does it mean to have his name on your resume now?
It means a lot. Without the guys like Frankie Edgar, you wouldn't have guys like me. Frankie Edgar was the inspiration. Drake said, train till your idols become your rivals, and we're here. And he's a beast, you can't take nothing away from Frankie. He's still a legend. He's been in top 5 forever in 2 different weight classes, in a weight class where he was very undersized. Boy looked kind of big today though, but it was super fun. It was super fun. Like I said, I'm trying to be the best pound for pound fighter in the world, not the best featherweight in the world. I'm trying to be the best pound for pound fighter in the world, and Frankie's one of the guys to help me one step towards that goal. All I kept hearing was I wasn't gonna be able to handle Frankie's pace. I wasn't gonna be able to handle his wrestling. I fought no one like Frankie before. So I had in my plan, in my mind, I wanted to go out there and show everybody why I was the best in the world and why Blessed Express and the Blessed Arrows in stood in full effect. So I went out there, control the fight, and show everybody, look, I don't have to be in these wars and this stuff. You know, it's fun sometimes, but sometimes, you know, not looking like the guy from Goonie is great too. So we got some business stuff. We got some business stuff to do after this fight, and I couldn't be too beaten up. You know, the last fight I had this big scar on my face, and yeah, I don't like it. Rush teases me all the time, so it's kind of horrible. Yeah, how you feel about how did Daddy look good tonight?
Pretty good.
Pretty good? What was pretty good?
Your punches.
Oh, just pretty good. I'm kind of mad. He's not getting chocolate wasted tonight, guys. I am. I'm taking all the goodies that you guys saw and embedded.
December 14th, 2019, UFC 245, USMAN vs. Covington, Las Vegas, Nevada. The reigning UFC featherweight champion Max Holloway is set to defend his belt against the Australian Alexander Volkanovski as the co-main event for the blockbuster end-of-the-year UFC pay-per-view.
Next year, mate, I'm looking to be the greatest featherweight of all time. So a lot of people are twisting my words and saying that, oh, I'm looking through Max and I want a rematch. I was actually saying that, you know, I'm looking to be the greatest featherweight, and if I have to beat him again, then that's what I'll do to prove to the world that I'm the greatest featherweight of all time.
A lot of people have been saying that you are a terrible matchup for Max Holloway on paper. I've seen it everywhere, really. A lot of people are saying this. You must believe that yourself.
Oh, 100%. And well, I know that. So I know I'm a terrible matchup, and I've always known that. Maybe these people are starting to jump on board because they've seen him lose and they know he's not invincible, but it's even deeper than that. Just his style and his game that he's so good at, and don't get me wrong, it's very effective, and I use that as well in my fights, but that obviously doesn't work with me. He can't approach this fight the way he has, and he probably still will because he's such a gamer. But I mean, if he's going to come at me like that and think he can grind me down and punch me in volume and, you know, outstrike me like that, he's got another thing coming. You know, obviously I'm very powerful, and if he's going to come at me like that and I get to sit on my punches, I hit very hard. And if you're going to do all the work for me and let me, you know, obviously the shots are going to be there, the power, the punches, the overhands, you name it. I get to just play what's in front of me, and I get to enjoy this fight. Obviously, it's going to be a tough one. Like I said, it's going to be still back and forth. I still think that. I know I'm going to land some big shots, and he's still going to come at me. But I think his game, he'll realise that it's not going to work with me pretty early in that fight. I've got a lot of respect for him. He's a great champion. He had that blessed era, but that changes, and that all ends December 14th.
It's like GSP once said, you know, it's harder to defend a title than win it, because if you think about it, when you fighting for a title, you're trying to earn something brand new, and then when you're defending a title, you're just trying to re-earn something that you already have, you know, and it is what it is, you know. That's when me and my team would sit down and we look for questions and what these guys, we look for challenges and this and that, and we look for things that excite me, and excite me is asking questions, you know. It's everybody keep talking about how this guy has power, you know. Everybody say, oh, Max, you're taller, but the guy got the reach. You know, I got little T-Rex arms. I don't know what's going on. A lot of people are like, you're tall, you have the reach, Max, use your jab. I'm like, guys, look at the reach. My reach is shorter than everybody I fought, except for probably Frankie. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm just excited. You know, I'm excited. Every fight to me is a championship fight. I told you guys before I was a champ that I thought I was in championship fights, and that's the way I carried myself. And that's the way I'm going to continue to carry myself, you know. And with him saying that he's the one that's gonna do this and that, you need that confidence. I want to fight a confident guy, you know. And he's across the octagon come December 14th because of that confidence, and I look forward to it.
Volkanovski defeats Holloway by unanimous decision. Alexander Volkanovski is the new UFC featherweight champion.
Yeah, you know, the first round, it always takes me a round or two to get going, you know. But yeah, so I was wanting to feel him out, you know. I was talking about how strong he was, how powerful he was. So we was playing that game, you know. I wanted to see, and I felt like I was having success from like mid-second round to all the way third, fourth, fifth, and at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough. I mean, I try to finish every fight, you know. I go out there, I try to fight my fight. I definitely felt him slowing from third, fourth, and then even the fifth, you know, he was talking a bunch in like the middle rounds, and then fourth and fifth, he wasn't really talking too much. So I felt like I was finding my way, you know. I thought I was finding my way, and man, I fought wrong. I thought the first round I was filling him out, so he did what he did in the first round. Second round I thought I was taking over, and then 3, 4, 5 I thought it was mine, but saw in other ways, you know. There's only three opinions that matter. Like the great Burt Watson said, don't leave that shit to the judges. They're gonna make you cry. So it made me cry twice in 2019. So that's choo choo forward to 2020. New year, new me.
Man, it was a tough one for me. Again, I stay so composed in there. I've got a job to do, right? When I'm in there, and I've always said that I keep myself so level-headed and composed. So going through, I was just taking every round and talking to them. I'm going, how's it going? They're going, it's going good, it's going good. So, you know, I thought it was reasonably close. Obviously, I thought I was winning, but I didn't know. But my corner were done a really good job of letting me know that and not getting caught up into his game. And as the rounds go on, they're telling me to keep doing what I'm doing. So I've got full faith in them. Game plan was working well. My shins are a little sore, but, you know, the game plan went well. So it was good. Again, I was saying, like, you know, we're both very high level. You know, it was a chess match in there. And, yeah, I got the job done. A lot of people keep asking me about, oh, yeah, with Poirier, he done this. You know, these are things that you've seen him do that you could use. I'm like, yeah, we've seen stuff, but we're seeing things that Max winning, we seen why he's winning, like things that work really good for him. You know, when we look that deep. And yeah, like I said, we think we've got a formula, and I've got that style as well. So when he really wanted to pour it on, I was just getting out of range, or I'd let him run into some of my shots. And then obviously them leg kicks were there, and that gas tank, I've got the gas tank. We were sitting there talking in there. I was like, hey, we're both fresh in there, like, you know what I mean? So again, there's a couple of little mental and physical games in there, but I mean, it was good fun. You know what I mean? I got it done. We got it done.
July 11th, 2020. UFC 251, Yas Island, Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. The champion, Alexander Volkanovski, is set to defend his title for the first time in a rematch against the former champion, Max Holloway, on Fight Island.